All right, let's go ahead and get started. My name is Brian Kahn, and the webinar tonight is Trendlines Can Be Horizontal. We're going to do this a little bit quick tonight, and you can always check the recording after, a few days after, on the IBFX YouTube page, but I had a surprise vacation scheduled for me, and so I didn't log in as usual and write my daily commentary at dailyforextradingedge.com this week, but I wanted to make sure that I communicated with you via a webinar. So that's what we're doing. We'll go through it rather quickly. You have my email there. You have my website there if you have any questions about the approach I take to navigating the financial markets as they relate as a whole, various markets, various strategies, various styles, and then working one-on-one with individuals to help them succeed given their own personal trading personality. So very big on trading psychology, and I think that if you understand trading psychology, that sets you up for success. As always, let's go through the disclaimers first. I'll leave this up for just a few seconds. In volatile markets, disclaimer: in volatile or fast-moving market conditions, stop and conditional orders become market orders to be filled at the prevailing price, which may be vastly different from the desired price. Stop loss or conditional orders do not always guarantee a fill, and such orders may not be filled as placed. Substantial losses may still occur. If you have any questions, as always, please go ahead and type them in. It's helpful as it leads to other topics and things like that. So I will make sure that I am moderating that as it goes. So the first slide here, let's just make sure we know where we're going tonight. Here's an outline, fundamental analysis. I'll give you a quick touch on macro and micro events. We'll go through technical analysis and intermarket relationships, and then we'll go through trend lines. And I'll try and describe the trend lines and give you some good data points to take a look at. But some key points there: validity, and then obviously we're using them today horizontally, so support and resistance, and trading plans. So let's go ahead into the first slide here. Fundamental analysis. It is very important because we know that central banks are still very involved, and central banks are driving interest rates. So make sure you're staying on top of the economic calendar when central banks are speaking. You can do that through your broker. IBFX provides you with a link to the website forexfactory.com that you see the link there for. So use your broker. Use your broker to stay on top of the analysis going on via webinars, via the dailyforextradingedge.com website where I post, and using obviously the other contributors as well: TV, CNBC, Bloomberg, and other market sites. Technical analysis. I combine fundamental analysis with technical analysis. I'm looking for trends. I'm looking for support and resistance. We're going to obviously look at support and resistance today using our horizontal trend lines. Intermarket relationships. Really, what I want you thinking about is what markets can you use to help give you an edge in trading Forex. If Forex is your main market, can you use the equity markets? Can you use commodity markets? What can you use to help you trade foreign currencies? So make sure you're relating all of those stories together. So trend lines, validity. The longer the trend line is in play, the more valid it is. The more data points it touches, the more valid it is. And again, we're focusing today horizontally. So horizontal will give us a good idea of support and resistance. So support on the bottom and resistance on the top. So let's leave the chart here, and I'm going to just pause here and go over to not Forex first, but I'm going to go over to IBFX's partner site, and I'll go over to the TradeStation platform. And you see two trend lines here. One is your standard trend line that's following a trend up, and it's providing support. But then you see this little line here, and you see the trend line going sideways, so more of a support line. I'm going to zoom in on this so that you can see this. I'm going to zoom in on this so that you can see it, maybe. Here we go. All right, there we go. So now you're looking at that blue support line right here. Look how many times the price bounced off of it, and then all of a sudden the price violated the diagonal trend line and the horizontal trend line. So that horizontal trend line there is my support line, and I'm keyed in on it because of all the times that the price bounced off of it, and now we went through it. Finally, we broke support. So now what I'm looking for is old resistance becomes new support, old support becomes new resistance. So these are support lines here. So these support lines, will they become resistance? So I'm looking for maybe resistance in the S&P up here. As the S&P, this is the S&P 500 or the ETF on that, the SPY, so the U.S. Broad Market Index. I just am showing it to you because there was a pickup in volatility today because the markets dropped off after going up and up and up for so long and sideways for so long. We finally had a pretty big decline, and so that's good for us as traders, volatility. So I just want to link that there was a pretty big move today. Technically, okay, it was really more of a technical move than a fundamental. If someone didn't come out and say something, it was more of a technical area was breached. So I key in on fundamentals, I key in on technicals. I was aware of this technical level. So what does that mean for foreign currencies? As I showed you in that slide, I'm not sure if there's a relationship between the S&P and foreign currencies, but there definitely is a relationship between which way the equity markets go, which way volatility goes, and how active the foreign currency markets are. So let's go ahead and minimize this, and let's go over to our IBFX MetaTrader 4 platform. Okay, and again, if you have questions, please type them in. As like I said, I'm going through a little quicker today, but you'll be able to see this online at the YouTube page, which I'll provide a link for in just a few days. So horizontal trend lines, what's going on? Well, really easy one, the Euro US dollar, we can pull up and look at some horizontal trend lines. All right, let's get my horizontal line up here. Right here, looking right across, pretty easy to identify. 1.3395, let's say, let's round it to 1. So right there, 1.3391. So really easy to see a horizontal trend line right there. Let me get my crosshairs up so that you can see it. So right next to, let's just round it up to make it easy, 1.34 even. We bounced off it here. We bounced off of it here. We bounced off of it here. We're right back up there again. Can you use it as a selling point? Also remember, Mario Draghi, the ECB chairman over there, he said that he doesn't really want the euro going up too high. That could hurt exports and things like that. So 1.35 was kind of his area. So we haven't really been above that in quite a long time. So interesting to see what happens here if we start to turn around, because as you can see, the euro as of late has had a really good run against the United States dollar. So all currencies are having weak accommodative policies basically to make sure that equities hang in there and interest rates stay low so that hopefully labor picks up. But obviously, as of late, the euro region, as far as the currency is going, is doing better than the U.S. But that's pretty easy horizontal trend line. Another horizontal trend line for you, the support line. Look at this line down here at the bottom. Okay, we can call it support. All right, right there, 1.28, right in that area. There's a bunch of support there. So you have a nice channel, 1.28 at the bottom, 1.34 at the top. We are at the top of that range. All right, horizontal trend lines. We're just pointing out support and resistance. And if they're violated, old support can become new resistance, old resistance can become new support. Another one, New Zealand dollar, US dollar, pretty clear. We're at an area of resistance. Right here, 81 even. We have resistance at 81 even. We have support at the bottom here at the 78, 77 area. So about 4 pennies there, 400 pips, 77 to 81. Nice range there. We're at the top. Are we going to break out? How do you play that? You go short at resistance, put your stop above it. You go long as it breaks above, and then you put your stop back below. So you obviously don't want to just let a loser run and run and run. So you're using the horizontal trend line to give you a guide as to where you're entering, why are you entering there, where are you going to get out for a loss, why are you wrong, where are you wrong, and what are you going to do for a profit? What's your intention if it breaks out and goes up, if you're long, or if it reverses and goes down back into the range. So you're using that as your barrier for entries and exits, and it's all a chart-based entry and exit. But again, I want to make sure that you're paying attention to fundamentals, because fundamentals, central bankers talking, can trump technicals out there. So just be aware of that. That's very, very important. Whether you're a long-term trader or a short-term trader, it just doesn't matter. You're looking for the same thing. You're looking for an area. Going back here to the equities, again, I wasn't picking the low here. I wasn't picking one point. I was picking an area right here that I saw a bunch of support. All right, it's an area going back and forth here that was pretty clearly an area of support. So I'm looking for an area, kind of an average price that I think is a fair price to be my support or my resistance level. Okay. All right, so going back in to the panel here, All right, so trend lines, validity, make sure that you have length to it, make sure it touches multiple data points, and then using it horizontally for support and resistance. So trend lines, trading plans, again, I kind of pointed you out to some long-term trading plans. Shorter term, we have some trends as of late, so it's harder to show shorter term areas that are providing support and resistance. But if we go back in, you can see on the daily chart here that I have definitely trending up in the pound, definitely kind of sideways here on the euro. Looking shorter term, I'm just trying to find an area where we might be able to find some shorter term support. Not really here. You know, if you're going to do it diagonally in the US and the Canadian, it's probably going to be something like this on the angle right here. Okay, there's a nice area of support right there as the bottoms are all providing your support. Not really easy to see on the shorter term as you go down to a 4-hour chart, a 1-hour chart. But again, you get the idea that whether you're a day trader risking 8 or 10 pips, or you're a long-term trader risking 50 pips, 100 pips, 200 pips, your risk reward is built in based on how far you think it's going, based on the price action that you've seen. So you just adapt it to your trading personality and your trading style. And again, that's what I concentrate on when I work with individuals one-on-one, making sure they're risking the right amount of pips and putting on the right amount of contracts for their trading strategies, for their account size, for the amount of time that they're in front of the computer. If you can't be a day trader if you're only in front of the computer for a half hour, I just don't think it'll work out. So make sure you're really mirroring and adapting your trading style for who you are as a trader. And if you have any questions on that, that's where you can reach out to me. Okay? So review fundamental events. You've got to stay on top of it because of central banks, and they can move and make volatile markets very quickly. Technical analysis, that's what we talked about today, using trend lines to give us support and resistance area, and drawing them on the charts and creating trading plans off of them, depending, again, on your trading time frame. So questions and resources, if you have questions, type them in. I'll be back talking to you in a couple weeks. We'll do the same thing, fundamental analysis update. Technical analysis, the main topic will be the U.S. and the Great British Pound, breaking down that pair in detail. You have my email if you have questions. The third from the bottom there, that's where you'll find this webinar and many, many others that I have done for IBFX and many, many others that other collaborators and analysts have done for IBFX. So plenty of ways to get a hold of me and watch some videos and get some of the commentary that I put on there. I'll be back on the dailyforextradingedge.com writing regular articles starting next week, and then obviously you always can reach me through my website, Jupiter Peak. So with that, if there aren't any questions, I thank you very much. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you get excited to look for some areas that are providing support and resistance, drawing your horizontal line there, and creating a nice solid trading plan off of it, and managing that trade from entry to exit. Thank you, happy trading, and invest intelligently.